So now let's look at some past questions to see how to apply the concepts that we have learnt. So in this first question, we are told that from the table above, if the pass mark is 5, how many students failed the test? So what we want to do is we want to first interpret our table over here. So what does this table mean? We are given the marks and the frequencies. So for the mark of 2, 3 students got a mark of 2. 1 student got a mark of 3. 5 students got a mark of 4. 2 students got a mark of 5. 4 students got a mark of 6. 2 students got a mark of 7. And 3 students got a mark of 8. So we are told that if the pass mark is 5, so what does it mean for the pass mark to be 5? It means that anybody that scored below a mark of 5 failed the course. So all the students that scored either 2 marks, 3 marks or 4 marks failed the course, and while students that scored 5 marks, 6 marks and above passed the course. So these students here failed the course. So now, how many students got a mark of 2? 3 of them got a mark of 2. How many of them got a mark of 3? Just 1. And how many got a mark of 4? 5. So when I add the total number of students that got below a score of 5, I get 9. So the total number of students that failed the course is 9, and that makes the correct option to this question option D. So let's move on to the next example or the next question. And here we are told that the response of 160 pupils in a school is given in the bar chart above. What percentage of the schools have English and health education as their favorite subject? So now, I'm sorry for this diagram that is quite blurred, and you should not be confused by the orientation. It has just been inverted, but it's still the normal bar chart that you are familiar with. So let's try to read out the data here. So now for the first subject, you have mathematics, and we can see that 22 students have mathematics as their favorite subject. So for maths, you have 22 students that love maths. For English, you have 52 students that love English. For religious knowledge, you have 40 students that love religious knowledge. For health education, you have 36 students that love health education. And for arts, you have 10 students that love arts. So the total number of students, if we sum all these together, is 160. Now the question asks us to find the percentage of students that have English and health education as their favorite subject. So the first thing we want to do is we want to try to add the total number of students that love English and health education. So English plus health education will be equals to what? 52 plus 36, and that gives us 88. So now we just have to represent 88 of the total number, which is 160, in terms of percentage. So the percentage of English and health education will just be equals to what? 88 over the total number, which is 160, then times 100%, and that gives us 55%. So the correct option to this question is option C. So on to the next question. Here we are told that the bar chart above shows the distribution of marks in a class test. If the pass mark is 5, what percentage of the students failed the test? This is very similar to the first question we solved, but in this case, the information has been represented in a bar chart instead of frequency table. So we are told that the pass mark is 5. So this is a mark of 5 over here. So any student that scores above 5 and above pass the course, while any student that scores below 5 fail the course. So the students that fail the course include students that fall within this region. That means students that got mark of 0, that got mark of 1, that got mark of 2, got mark of 3, and got mark of 4. So we just need to add them together. So how many students got a mark of 0? So if we trace it up, we can see the frequency or the number of students that got a mark of 0 to be 2. So how many students got a mark of 1? So when I trace the number of students that got a mark of 1, I raise it up, it is what? 3. Mark of 2, I have 4. Mark of 3, I have 6. And mark of 4, I have 5. And when I sum all these together, I get 20. Now, the question asks us to express it in terms of percentage. So that means I have to divide 20 by the total number of students, then multiply by 100. So I need to find the total number of students. So let's continue by finding the number of students that passed the course. So the number that got mark of 5 is what? 4. That got mark of 6 is 6. That got mark of 7 is 5. That got mark of 8 is 1. That got mark of 9 is 3. And that got mark of 10 is 1. Now when I add this together, I also get 20. So 20 students passed and 20 students failed. So the total number of students will be what? 20 plus 20, number of students that passed and failed, and that will be equals to 40. So the percentage that failed will be equals to the number that failed, which is 20, divided by the total number of students, which is 40, then times 100%, and this gives me what? 50%. So this means that what? Half of the class failed in the class test. So the correct option is option C. So on to the next question. Here we are told that the pie chart above shows the distribution of crops harvested from a farmland in a year. If 3,000 tons of millet is harvested, what amount of beans is harvested? So what we want to do now first is to try to calculate the angle of the beans over here. So for the angle of the beans over here, I'm just going to assume that the angle over here is x. And there's a mistake over here. What is supposed to be here is 150 and not 160. So we get started. To find the angle of the degree for the number of beans, we know that the sum of angle in a circle must be 360 degrees. So when I sum all this together, I get 360 degrees. So x plus 60 plus, for my maize, I have this symbol over here which represents a right angle. I know that a right angle represents 90 degrees. So plus 90 plus 150 must be equals to 360 degrees. So my x will be equals to 360 minus 300, and that gives me what? 60 degrees. So the degree for the beans is what? 60 degrees. So now, how do I find the number of tons of beans that was being harvested? Now I don't know the total. I need to divide the degree or the section of beans by 360 and multiply it by the total number that was distributed. So how do I go about that? I'm told that if 3,000 tons of millet is harvested, so where is my millet? I have here. So I know that 3,000 tons of millet is harvested. So to calculate the number of tons of millet that is harvested, I know that when I have 150 over 360 times the total number that was harvested, I got 3,000, which represented the number of tons of millet that was harvested. So T, which represents the total number of tons that is being harvested, will be equals to 3,000 times 360 over 150, and that is equals to 7,200. So now I can, since I've calculated the total number that was harvested, I can now calculate the total number of beans that was harvested. So the total number of beans that was harvested will just be equals to the angle for the beans, which is 60 over 360 times the total number that was harvested, which is 7,200, and that gives me what? 1,200 tons. So 1,200 tons of beans was harvested. Alternatively, another way to go about this is that instead of trying to find the total number of tons that was harvested, we can try to make use of our idea of proportions. So we know that 150 degrees of millet produce 3,000 tons. So we know that 150 degrees produce 3,000 tons. So we ask ourselves, beans that represent 60 degrees, how many tones would it represent? So we call it x. So if I cross multiply, value of x will be equals to 3000 times 60 over 150, and that gives us 1200 tones. So you see, using our idea of proportions, we see arrived at the same answer. And as you can see, this approach is far shorter than trying to calculate the total tones that was harvested before trying to solve for the number of beans that was harvested. So the correct option again is option B. So on to the next question. Here we are told that a World Congress of Mathematicians was held in Nice in 1970 with 800 people participating. There were 800 from Europe, 200 from America, 150 from Asia, 45 from Africa, 105 from Australia. Representing the above on the pie chart, the angle of sector representing participants from Asia is, this is a typo over here, you're supposed to have from Asia is. So now we're going to talk about calculate the degree. So the degree of Asia now will be equal to what? The frequency of Asia over the total frequency times 360. So now what is the frequency of Asia? How many people, how many mathematicians came from Asia? As you can see, 150 mathematicians came from Asia. How many mathematicians altogether attended the Congress? 800 mathematicians. So we divide it by total frequency, which is 800, then we multiply by 360, and when we punch this into our calculator, we get 67.5 degrees. So the angle of the sector represent people from Asia is 67.5 degrees, which represent option B. And just as a side note, if we are if we are asked to find the percentage of people from Asia, just now instead of multiplying by 360, we would have multiplied by 100. But since we were asked for the angle in degrees, that is why we're multiplying by 360, and we got 67.5 degrees. On to the next question. Here we are told that on the pie chart there are 6 sectors, of which 4 angles are 30 degrees, 40 degrees, 60 degrees, 90 degrees, and the remaining 2 angles are in the ratio 2:1. Find the smaller angles of the remaining 2 angles. This is a typo over here. It's supposed to have of the remaining 2 angles. So a quick sketch. We have a pie chart that is divided into 6 sectors. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So one of it is what? One is 30 degrees. The other is 45 degrees. The other is 60 degrees. The other is 90 degrees. And we don't know the size of the 2 other sides. So let me call the 2 other angles A, and this angle over here B. So we are told the ratio of those 2 angles. We are told that the ratio of A to B is what? 2:1. So we know that A is bigger than B. So we are now told to find the smaller angles of the remaining 2 angles. So we are told to find the value of B, or the smaller angle. So what do we do now? We try to solve. So we know that the sum of angle of a circle must be equal to 360. So when I add all these angles together, I must get what? 360 degrees. So I can write out that A plus B plus 30 plus 45 plus 60 plus 90 must be equal to 360 degrees. So now A plus B will be equal to 360 minus 225, and I have my A plus B to be equals to 135. But now I'm giving the relationship between A and B. I'm told that A ratio B is equals to 2:1. So I can also write this as what? A over B is equals to 2/1. So if I cross multiply, I see that my A is equals to 2B. So I can substitute the value of A as 2B into this expression here. So A becomes 2B. So I have 2B plus B is equals to 135. So 3b is equals to 135. So my b will be equals to 135 over 3, which is equals to 45 degrees. And my a now will just be equals to 2 times 45, and that is what? 90 degrees. So which is smaller out of 45 and 90? We see that 45 is smaller. So the smaller angles of the two angles is what? 45 degrees, and that makes the correct option to this question option C. So on to the last question that we shall be looking at. So I thought that the bar chart, or what I call the histogram, shows the mark distribution in a class. Find the number of students in a class. So now there is a test or an exam, and this is the mark distribution from 0 to 9, 10 to 19, 20 to 29, 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 to 59. And we are told the number of people that got within that range of scores. So we are now told to use this to find the total number of students in the class. So how many students scored between 0 and 9? 4 students. So this, our frequency is 4. How many students scored between 10 and 19? We have 6 students. How many students scored between 20 and 29? We have 8 students. How about 30 to 39? We have 9 students. 40 to 49, we have 5 students. And 50 to 59, we have 2 students. So when you sum this together, it gives the total number of students, and this sums up to be 34. So the total number of students in this class is 34, and the correct option is option D. So this pretty much sums up our discussion on representation of data. So what I would suggest now is that you go through the exercises and try to solve the questions. And if you have any difficulty, try to make use of the forum so that I can connect with other students taking the course. And also, you should try to go through the past questions and look for additional questions that you can solve that are related to representation of data, because it's only through practice that you can become perfect in trying to attempt questions. So that will be all for now. Bye.